Hi, I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cindy.
And we're here with another Feeding Frenzy for the Master Key System. We're in part 2, number 12.
Yay.
Alright, you're going to have to put your thinking cap on.
It's on.
It, and it's talking about the conscious mind,
Okay.
alright, has the faculty of discrimination, carrying with it the responsibility of choice.
Okay.
Okay?
Excuse me, I get that.
It has the power of reasoning, whether inductive, deductive, analytical, or syllogistic. And this power may be developed to a high degree. It is the seat of the will with all the energies that flow therefrom.
Okay. So the conscious mind is pretty darn important.
In what way? So what's this saying to you?
What it's saying to me is that we can train this conscious mind to do all the reasoning, and to have all the logic and all the necessary functioning ability to get us in touch with this world and keep us in touch with this world. I mean, it uses our five senses. It is what ties us to this world. So it has some very important roles in that it does the reasoning and the thinking and the keeping me from getting hit by a car. It gives me choices.
We can choose to teach it how to discriminate and how to judge and think through problems logically. And
right. So even though it appears to be most, if not all, of my problem, it's also the only thing that keeps me tied to this world.
Well, and it keeps you in communication with it too.
Right. Exactly.
We could not
That's what I mean
communicate
by
with this world without it.
Right.
You know,
It is the
understand
only
what's
thing
going
that
on
interacts.
around us. So we couldn't interact with it. We wouldn't receive information through our tactile senses.
Well, if you think of somebody like Helen Keller, who was missing some of her senses, or they were not working properly, then how isolated she became. You know, living in her own little world until she was taught other ways to communicate. You know, we would all be in that same situation, or worse, without our conscious minds to tie us to everybody else and to this outside world. I mean, we would still all be connected on the inside.
Right.
But that's not quite
Well,
as
we couldn't
obvious.
interact
We
with
couldn't
each
interact
other.
with each other without these external ways to do that, you know, with our conscious mind. So our conscious mind also gives us choices, many choices.
Many choices.
To choose whatever we want to do, whatever we want to say, whatever we want to be. You know, what else do you get from it?
Well, I was just reading this last statement again. It is the seat of the will. I find that to be, that contradicts with what I was always grown up to think. I was always brought up to think. Well, I always thought the will was tucked in back behind. Do you know what I'm saying? You got to reach in deep and find the will to do this. Do you know what I'm saying? So I always thought that the will was part of the subconscious, not the conscious mind.
Well, I think it depends on how you define that will. And I think in this, the way I'm seeing what he's saying about the will is it's our choice. It's our determination. We get to determine whether or not we do that. We get the choice of what to do and when to do it and how to do it and how to feel about it and all those things. I think it's more used as more of a choice instead of determination. You know, and
instead of the power.
Willpower.
Yeah.
You know, it's I don't see it as willpower as much as choice. I get to be able to choose what to do. You know, so I think that word is an older version of the word. It's choice.
But we can also see through this that sometimes that when we are looking at books of a different time or thoughts of a different time, there is still a problem with the translation of the words because they don't mean the same as they did then.
Exactly.
As they do now.
Exactly.
So that the analyzing the language becomes sometimes difficult, but oftentimes necessary, so that you keep in frame or keep in the forefront of your mind. This is what they mean, or this is what I think they mean,
Right.
versus this is what it means today.
Right. Well, even willpower means the power to choose. You know, so it's just our choice as to what we do and when we do it. And I think willpower is more, in my mind, it's more along the lines of breaking bad habits and creating good ones.
Yes.
Because they're so ingrained. We still have a choice, but they're so ingrained that we have
But
to
in override that habit,
we have to consciously make the choice. Consciously put forth
and
the
keep
effort
making
to
the
make
choice.
the choice. Right.
When I chose to give up smoking many years ago, I had to keep making the choice to do it. I had
Until
to
it
keep
becomes second
overriding.
nature.
I had to keep overriding the five senses. I had to keep overriding the thoughts around it. I had to keep overriding my old habit until it became the new
Right.
consciousness.
So
Until
now,
it became
today,
the new habit.
You don't think about smoking.
Not as often.
Right.
I do occasionally,
Right.
still.
And you could make the choice to start again.
Mm-hmm.
But on a normal day, you don't think about smoking.
No, not any longer.
Whereas used to, when you smoked on a normal day, that's all you thought about.
Mhm.
Well, you didn't think about it. It just happened. You did it because you'd already made that decision.
Mhm.
So I've been studying a lot lately about decisions and commitment and the power they have.
Yeah.
You know how I love to make decisions.
Oh, I do.
But I'm thinking that if we found that easier and if decision making became a habit, then that would make life a lot easier.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't
and more
it?
efficient
It would, wouldn't it?
and more fun.
Mm.
And I will go down in history for saying that you too could become better at making decisions.
In what
It's not
way?
just me.
In what way?
Well, I'm not the only one that says, well, I don't care what we have for dinner.
No, I'm surrounded by people that say that.
And you do it too. You only make those decisions when
Only.
you have to.
Well, yeah.
So
I would
yes,
love for some input. That
You
would be
are
nice.
better than I am at making decisions, but only because you have to. So, seriously though, I think once we make a decision and a commitment,
Mhm.
then it's much easier to build a habit and
Yes.
put that into our subconscious.
But that's the part that I fail to recognize sometimes. It's not necessarily just making the decision to do it and then it's done.
right.
I have to keep making the decision. I have to keep
Right.
reinforcing
well, you have to
that
remind
until I
yourself
change
that
the
you made
habit.
the decision.
Yes.
So I'm going to even go out on a limb and say that most clutter, whether it's in our minds
Yes.
or in the house
Yes.
or wherever, comes from not being able to make good decisions or make decisions, period. Because we have a lot of this because we can't decide what to do with it.
True. All right. I'll
And
go
then if
there.
we made good decisions about this is where I want my life to go, then we would get rid of the stuff that didn't follow
Lead us
in line
there.
with that and a sense of lack. And that I might need this someday later.
Mm.
I think those
I'm
are
going to
the
remind you. I'm going to
two
play this
things.
tape again when it comes time to clean out that garage.
I'm about ready to clean out the garage. Just
Good.
because of this decision making. I'm really feeling that if we would become better decision makers and better at commitments and sticking to both of those,
Yes.
then we would clear out a lot of the clutter in our life, have a lot more closure on those open loops, and things would just go a lot better because we wouldn't have all the clutter,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's just mind clutter.
There's
So
some
there you
deep
have it.
thoughts
Yeah.
there
Yeah,
from the mind of Cindy.
yeah. Not necessarily that it goes with this lesson, but it came up.
Well, but, you know, they all do.
Yeah.
So, that's good stuff.
So, and it's very good stuff.
Shree.
Shrink.